Hey, this is John Campbell from Lamb of God, and you're listening to Talk to Me, the guy that won't quit sending me dick pics.
Oh, you bumbling boob. This is Skeletor, and you're listening to the Talk to Me podcast. To be beast, man. Put down that... Ah, boy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into Talk to Me, episode 256. It is the return of Skinny from Mushroomhead. We get a nice 30-minute chat in here momentarily, talking about the new album, talking about their feud with Slipknot back in the day, talking about recording at Abbey Road Studios over in England, and so much more. Fun chat anytime Skinny is on the show. And I am digging the new album, man. I really enjoy the addition of Miss Jackie to Mushroomhead. I saw online today that it's kind of, dividing the fan base, but I think, all in all, it's a good move. Good move for the Mushroomhead camp. Thank you guys for checking out last week's episode with John Campbell, the bass player from Lamb of God. Finally got a member of Lamb of God on, got some nice blabbermouth love. Always got to enjoy some blabbermouth love. Even got some for the JP from Clutch episode from the week before. 2 blabbermouth headlines last week from the Talk to Me podcast. And so before we get into this interview with Skinny from Mushroomhead, make sure you are heading over to your Apple podcast, leaving a nice 5-star rating. Nice 5-star review. That will be much appreciated. And share this with your friends. If you're a fan of Mushroomhead, your friends need to listen to this episode. So without any more of my ramblings, let's check out a classic track from Mushroomhead. Talk to Skinny. Listen to the new single, Heresy. The Heresy, not to be confused with Heresy by Pantera. But The Heresy off of the latest album, entitled A Wonderful Life, that will be out June 19th on Napalm Records. Make sure you're checking it out. Make sure you're supporting Mushroomhead when they come through. How can you beat a band? A band full of masks and metal and water drums. Fun band to go see live, so go check them out if they come to your city soon. Hopefully this pandemic will go away. Hopefully the riots will go away. And we will all live happily ever after.
One shot put around the world, gonna bring it to a head. We're gonna show the world that it was once said. Whatever the cost, we will never surrender. Leave a banner, no loss. When the rich wage war and the patriotic whores dig their own graves for their own sake. Another casualty, another travesty, another motherfucking German shepherd crawling with his teeth, stepping big, slamming, smack, grabbing, kicking when the banks drop. Boom, boom! Alpha to Zulu, I'm here to say fuck you! I had a bad day. When the angels hang. When the angels hang. When the angels hang. When the angels hang.
Hello.
Hey, Skinny, it's Josh from the Talk to Me podcast. How you doing?
Hey, brother, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's been a while since we've talked.
Yeah, man. How are things? I mean, well, besides the crazy world,
Right.
Hope you and yours are well, you know?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny. My day job really hasn't changed much, and I almost worked more while everybody else got to stay at home and do nothing.
Yeah, we're all self-employed, so it's basically the game of creating something to sell,
Right.
is what it really turns into in reality. So we're just like, well, I guess we better start creating some other stuff besides live music. Luckily for Mushroomhead, we've got the mask and the visuals and things to, concentrate on. Like right now, we're just concentrating on doing videos.
Right.
I mean, if we're going to be home for 6 or 8 months, let's see how many we can do.
Well, did you do Mushroomhead masks, for the pandemic?
We actually did. It was how ironic, that you got to get your shipment in from China, right?
Right.
I don't even want these masks, you know what I mean, at that point. So it took a little while, but yeah, we're actually going to be launching a website, in a couple of weeks that same time as the album comes out. We had to revamp a few things over the last year or so. So we're going to come out swinging with some pretty basic masks, but yeah, we've definitely included them in the roster.
Nice. Yeah, the nice face mask, would have been great for you guys to pull out for everybody.
It's funny, we used to always say it'd be really cool if see a whole crowd wearing masks, but we pictured it different.
Much different, yes.
Yeah.
Well, as you guys know, we've got Skinny from Mushroomhead on the podcast. A great new album, A Wonderful Life, out June 19th. So it's a very, very apropos title.
Yeah, how funny is that one? I mean, we kind of, when we pick titles, we try to do things that make people think. It gets you to definitely leave it open for interpretation for the individual. And we very much thought this one could be a glass half full, glass half empty type of situation. And, in these modern times that it's coming out in, it's very, satirical indeed. So, it's just, it's kind of, one or the other, depends on what kind of mood you're in, I guess, huh?
Yeah, you should do the whole, with these trying times here at Mushroomhead, we are trying to, start off every conversation like that, like every corporation's been doing.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the commercials are just killing me. I can't even listen to anything without, how uncertain times, yes, we get it. We know. We're living in it.
We must stick together.
Yeah. Right, yes. And, it's always funny when you hear for like an auto sales place, it's like, yeah, come on and buy a car, but stay at home. Like, we're going to drive the thing. Come on.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been a mess, man. It's been a mess. Listening to the new album, I've been checking it out. The one thing that I really, really like is the addition or the promotion of Miss Jackie. Her voice with everything, man, sounds so cool. And it just adds a nice new element to the band.
Absolutely, man. I am a big fan of female vocals in general, especially on doomy or darker stuff. I'm kind of a product of the 90s, back from, to Bjork and Portishead and PJ Harvey and, stuff like that. So when we had the opportunity to do more with her, it was really, really fun this time around. She adds a lot of texture and a lot of character and dynamic that we just weren't able to, pull out before. And, having a weapon like that in the arsenal, so to speak, it's like it made us think, man, we can write some big doomy stuff and have a real small little voice in there sometimes. So when it does come in, it's just gigantic, things we didn't really, think about doing before. Now that we have the opportunity, it was like, oh, there it is. Let's play around in that. And, it led to a lot of experimenting, which is, I think, why this album is so diverse.
Yeah, it's definitely a different. I don't know how hardcore old school Mushroomhead fans are going to be about it. You never know with because every time you guys post anything, it's bring back this vocalist, bring back that vocalist. But I think that the addition of Miss Jackie and then the other singer, if I'm not 100% on his name, so give me his name.
Yeah, Mr. Rockhorse, Steve Rockhorse. We call him Stevie mostly, but he's a monster too. He's
got a very Mike Patton-esque vocal to him. There was a lot of really cool stuff in there. So, I mean, the addition of like those two together, I think have added a whole nother dimension to the band.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like one of the things that a lot of people overlook is every single album, there's been a lineup change. There's never been two consecutive. So it adds to a lot of diversity throughout the sounds. And, as far as bringing people back and that type of mentality, doors always open in this camp, to be honest with you. We think of this as more like Star Wars and, Mortal Kombat than we do a heavy metal band, characters leave, they come back, we get new ones, and everyone is very much a character in this, and they play the role. It's really not a rock star camp. It's way more of an art driven collaboration.
So with that being said, there's never two lineups, back to back, but you being the lone stalwart through the whole thing. So what is it about you that's so hard to work with?
I don't really think that's the case. I think anyone that has a hard time working with me just generally has a hard time working. They don't want to work hard, and that's the reality of it. I'm there to push your button. As a producer, my job is to get better out of you. And when you're working with me 5-6 albums in a row, man, you can't just come in and wing it. You can't phone this stuff in. This is our career. This is our livelihood. And at the end of the day, it's art that you need to be proud of. And, that's where I'm always demanding the best out of anyone standing next to me, whether you're in a studio with, we're doing audio or video, you're pointing a microphone at something, you're pointing a camera at something. I'm going to demand, the absolute best it can be. And whenever I'm working with someone, I know that that's what they expect from me. So why would I, back off and say, oh, no, you get a pass because you've been hanging around for so long? No, it doesn't work like that.
No, I'm just busting balls, man. I've been in enough bands to know that, especially with a band with as many members as you have, then it's not a ton of. I think there's like a lost sentimentality of if you came up and you were four dudes in a garage, it's sticking together. But I mean, at some point, a band becomes a working business type unit, and sometimes people just want to bow out, and I get it.
Yeah, no, I understand, and there's a lot to be said for the entire past catalog. I think a lot of people busted their ass, and we made some pretty heavy duty tunes and albums together. So there's no knocking the work that it has been done, but the focus has always been the future, and like you said, it's what type of project is this, and it was always very much a studio project, an experimental project, always bringing in extra outside guests and things of that nature. It was never supposed to be the Beatles and Metallica, so and I think a little bit of that mentality is kind of old school as well. I don't see where there are rules. If your band should be like this and it's never allowed to expand or grow or evolve, you're stuck with one sound forever. I feel sorry for those bands. I mean, good for the huge, the ones that have made it and they're millions and millions of dollars in their pockets, but they're still playing songs that sound the same as they did 20 years ago. And, I know they're not happy. They can't be happy playing that same shit.
Yeah, and you've got to look at a band like, say like a Seven Dust or a Clutch or any of those bands that have been the same 4 or 5 dudes the entire time. It's just, people will quit a band over he doesn't like the way you chew, like people, so for them to make it this long and the longevity of 4 or 5 dudes sticking together throughout all this is pretty insane.
It really is. It really is. And, I commend everyone that sticks through it. I know that, they believe in what they do. And, it's nice to have others that either believe in you or you can believe with. And it's rare, especially in this day and age. So God bless them, man.
I think the last time we spoke, you were getting ready for a 50th anniversary of the Agora. I was just going to kind of see, how that went, and it was a big celebration. I know that Mark Hunter from Camaro went down, and a bunch of the Cleveland stalwarts were there.
Oh yeah, no, it was absolutely awesome to see the place renovated and basically back up and running. It's killer. I think we've done 2 or 3 shows, maybe even 4 since then. But it was a really cool event, man. I was glad to be there.
And and I was just kind of looking over the last year or so of the band. I mean, you've had a couple of amazing tours last year. Obviously, the Static X tour, and them being back out and doing it, and you getting added to the bill. Such a huge tour. It was pretty much already sold out before anybody even got added to the bill. So what an amazing tour to be a part of.
Yeah, it was really cool. And, another band, really good friends with Dope. We had done, damn near 10 years on the road with those guys. So it was so nice to see a bunch of them and the crew. A lot of people still, with Edsel and that camp. And, with Static, it was like, check it out. It's like the new metal kids. They were all old. You know what I mean? We've been doing it. So it was a lot of, high fives and, hey, how you been? It was an honor to be part of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think when Edsel was on the show, we talked about they're not necessarily ex-members of Dope. They're just members of Dope. So when it gets time to tour, he's like, who's available kind of thing. And it kind of reminded me of what you were saying earlier about Mushroomhead kind of being like a Star Wars.
Yeah, it's all, kind of interchangeable. The hired gun thing is real. I think in Edsel's camp and in those types of things, it's very, hired gun, and all those guys are, like bounty hunters. And good for them, work is work, and I get it, and if that's what you love doing is getting on a stage and performing and being the best drummer or guitar player you can be, there's a lot of people that need that mentality, and just come on out and let's fucking rock and make this tour kick ass and just pound every night versus, worrying about, well, this tour is not convenient for this guy, so we're not going to do it. It's much more of a business approach to it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you don't spend 20 plus years to not have it successful. I mean, what is the point, when you're 12 years old, 14 years old, going, man, I want to be a rock and roll star. I want to be able to, be on stage. And I mean, it's a lot of commitment to, give keep that thing going more than, some bands get their cycle and they get good 5-10 years or whatever. And they're like, well, we're at the club level, so we just kind of give it up. So I don't know, man. Again, God bless all that, the hard work.
Now, I do have a fan-submitted question. He's a listener. He's also a reality TV star and a star of his own, the thrift hunters and things like that. Big guy from Cleveland, Jason T. Smith. I don't know if you know who that is or not, but
I'm not sure.
He was on Thrift Hunters on Spike TV back in the day, and he does all kinds of stuff. But he's a Cleveland guy, so he grew up being a Mushroomhead guy. He wanted to know if you were at the show at Nautica the first time Slipknot came through, and all the fans threw batteries and fought with them as they were playing. No,
I heard all about it, in the following days. But, that was way before the internet and, Facebooks and things of that nature. So, over the course of the next week or whatever, I found out, as far as what was going on, or at least I had heard of what was going on. Then I heard like 20 different stories throughout the years. And then, it's just like the legend of Bigfoot.
Right.
I guess it happened and, does it fucking matter? You know what I mean? At that point, it was just like a silly fan fueled and I guess media hyped thing to talk about. This is the 90s, so any sort of news was cool. There wasn't a whole lot back then, and then you get a feud between bands. It's kind of East Coast West Coast type of thing. Oh Lord, here we go. And, for some of the entertainment value of it, sure, a lot of us in the band were at the time into it and, played it up and had some fun. But, I look back and, I think I should have did it all when I knew it all, huh?
Right. Oh, yeah. That's...
like how silly of us. That was like, to even be, obviously we didn't have any part of it,
right,
the band, but to even just jump on the, the bandwagon of talking to the media about it and going, yeah, well, we came first, the chicken and the egg, and that whole stupid thing. Spent a lot of time, complaining about them for nothing. So, God bless them. Look at, they're one of the biggest bands out there, man. So, just it proves that, mass heavy metal and that style of entertainment is still relevant, and it's still very relevant. A lot of bands are coming out that are, more of that theatrical. Look at In This Moment. They blew up, man.
Oh, yeah.
Good for them too. I've been a fan. I like the last 3 records of them really, really a lot. I mean, the production on it alone is just mind blowing. And then to see them, to incorporate all the elements as far as production and costumes and masks and having extras on the stage as part of the show. I mean, again, here we are, talking about it. It's entertainment. So I love it.
Yeah, and what's crazy is, how in the last 20, 25 years of you guys, so many bands have kind of come through with, we're going to do this, we're going to wear masks, we're going to, do the whole thing. And it's almost got to be kind of upsetting for you in the fact of like how easy it's kind of become to kind of get masks made and finding someone to do them, and the technology's there to where maybe back in the day, you had to really search out to find, someone that could make a mask, pre-internet.
Oh yeah. It seems like the last 5-6 years, it really picked up, and, like when, that TV show Face Off was on, things really started to pick up, and, the how-to videos started popping up and websites. Before that, it was like, the Pittsburgh Institute of Art. It was very limited on who you knew who was doing like haunted houses and shit like that, as far as getting any sort of masks or makeup or any sort of hookup like that. But we were fortunate that we had a really talented guy, Dave Greathouse. He lived, very close to us here in Cleveland, and was part of Bloodview Haunted House, and was just into metal and doing a lot of things. So we hooked up with him, and he got us turned on to our whole, first round of latex masks, and then from then on out, it's just been, a trial and error, and now we do quite a bit of stuff just in house. We have different sculptors sculpt for us, and then once we've got the molds, we're kicking them out, painting them, adding accessories, and it's very hands on over here.
Now, I know we talked about it last time, but you've got a little compound there where you've got the warehouse or whatnot. I mean, what's some of the oldest stuff you have? I mean, do you have some of the very early first Mushroomhead masks like in boxes somewhere?
No, a lot of that stuff, it's, over 20 years old. And if it was like, say, done with foam latex, this stuff just, it disintegrates over time. It evaporates and just turns into like a 20-year-old sponge that just crinkles away. So a lot of stuff, when we're done touring with it or done using it in a video, we'll put it up online for auction to share with the fans.
Nice. Yeah, I was kind of wondering. I mean, I have tons of like old demos and stuff that I was like Mr. Hand everybody a demo, and now I don't have any of that stuff, and I'm like, like every once in a while it'll pop up on eBay and I'll grab it, but yeah, I was totally Mr. Give everything away, and now I don't have anything.
Yeah, I hear you there. There's all kinds of cool first pressings, limited stuff I see all the time. I'm like, man, I had 10 of those at one point. I do still have my very first kit, my drum set that I used for the first Mushroomhead shows and first recordings. I still have that one. So that thing's been around for 20 plus years.
Nice. The other tour you guys did last year was a nice run with ICP. How was that for you guys to kind of go out with a band like that?
It's always a pleasure to be, considered part of family over there, man. We have done multiple tours with those guys. Even in the UK, we did one with them not too long ago. We do a lot of the gathering as well. Like, their fans are just, they're hardcore and rabid, and there's just a cool crossover with Mushroomhead and ICP fans. Everyone, it's a party when we get together with those boys. It's a lot of fun, man. And they've always got really cool acts on the tour. Last time, there's a rapper he goes by Ouija, and we actually became pretty good friends over the course of the tour. He's a great guy, man, and it was really fun to do that run. And we did a lot of recording while we were on that run too, as far as working on the new album. This whole album was put together from December of 2018 to January of 2020. And we did quite a bit of recording when we were out on the road, whether it was, in the States with our own little portable Pro Tools rig, or when we went to London last time around, we actually got to record some vocals at Abbey Road.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, it was awesome. So like every time I hear a couple of these songs, I'm sitting right back there in that control room. It's actually control room B that they did Dark Side of the Moon in. So it was just really cool to to be there, and then yet alone to record, and then you hear it back on your album now. And like every time I hear that one tune, it's the tune's called The Heresy. So every time I hear Jackie's lead in line, it's like I'm sitting right there again. So yeah, we did a lot of writing on the road, and the ICP tour was during the the 2-year cycle. I think we did 4 tours in 2 years, and we're recording and writing the entire time.
Back to Abbey Road, I mean, you had to have got the entire band to do that walk across the street there. That would have been a fantastic photo, all of you and all your gear just like walking across the street.
It's absolutely what you think of when you go there and you want to do it, and then you see there's just like a sea of Asian people trying to do the same thing. Like 40 of them, 50 of them. Like there was like a school thing or something going on that day, but they were all, 2 at a time walking across the street, and everyone's beeping at them. The poor people that live right in that general area. I would imagine you've got tourists every day of the year, all day long, trying to capture that photo, and it's just nothing but people and cars everywhere, and like there's no open road.
There was a story.
Yeah, dude, it's so congested. It is not what you think when you get there. You're like, are you kidding me? So
there was a story not too long ago that with the pandemic and the shutdown, that they were actually able to repaint that for the first time in God knows how long, because there was no traffic.
This I believe, and they let everyone sign the wall right over there, right in front of the studio. There's a white wall, and they just, after so much graffiti, what do? They just paint it fresh white every now and again, and then everyone signs it again. They just let it happen. It's part of the community.
Now with we'll get back to A Wonderful Life and the writing of the album. And the one thing I was listening to it today thinking was, you obviously you're the drummer, and you got the the bass and the guitar, and just every moving part of Mushroomhead going on, that you how do you compose songs thinking about, we've got so many members that maybe want to shine here and there? Do you think about that, or is it just like we're going to write some great songs and we're going to go from there?
Yeah, it is very much go with your gut and what kind of mood. That's why, the album's so diverse. It's got real good doomy stuff, real high energy stuff. And it's funny because certain songs, like just the mood of it, will say, man, that's a Stevie. That hook is definitely a Stevie thing. Or, man, that would be really cool with Jackie's voice right there, all doomy and small. Or this thing's really heavy. You can just hear J-Man, right. It's like sometimes like the parts kind of dictate who's going to go there just on their own. Other times we'll start writing a couple of arrangements and putting things together, and someone will be like, hey, I got an idea for that. And then that spawns into someone else actually singing the idea and then it becoming something bigger. There's one of the tunes on this record. It's called The Flood. And it's very traditional Mushroomhead, like early Mushrooms, Faith No More style. And that one was a lot of fun. It was one of those tunes to where we had the majority of it together, but we just need a really big hook. We need a really big hook. Stevie was like, you know what? Just put it on and let me try something. And it instantly, turned into like a really big, powerful tune. And it was cool because everyone had, the part had been blank and empty for a moment. And everyone was kind of, I got an idea. And once sometimes you hear someone else's idea and you're like, well, I'm not even going to suggest my idea. That totally smokes it. So it's really cool to have, open, mentality when it comes to writing and collaborating and hearing everyone's idea through. Sometimes everyone will track their part and the best idea wins, and other times, like I said, someone will do something and you're like, whoa, that smokes what I had. Great. Moving on. Awesome.
And I did notice on that there is a tour date for August 21st. Is that still going on, or have you heard anything about that? I believe it's called like Rock on the River.
That one was actually supposed to happen in May, so they postponed it until August, and I haven't heard anything on it. So I can't say one way or the other, but it's just not looking good. I honestly don't think the Halloween run, we do it annually every year, October in the States. And it's not looking good. I know a lot of clubs and promoters want to try to do it, and so do we, but until everything opens up, it's just everything's kind of up in the air. So it's hard to keep postponing stuff and go, well, we put that off until this time, the third time around, you're like, it's not going to happen. So I think a lot of people were wise by just going, all right, let's move everything a year. And, give the world a chance, at least. It's so uncertain and such a strange thing that, no one really knows how to deal with it. So, the touring and the shows are definitely iffy. It's completely in the air.
Now, I know you talked earlier about doing as many videos and things like that you could at this time, since you're kind of at home. And with releasing an album, typically you're going to go on tour to support the album, but technically you can't right now. So, I mean, are you guys looking into doing the Facebook Live stuff and live streaming a show and all that stuff?
Right now, no, we're just focusing on videos and working on other forms of streaming media and content. I think everyone's trying to scramble and do a live, some sort of streaming type of show, but it's just really not in the cards for us right now. Especially, it's a lot of work getting multiple cameras, get a whole bunch of people together. We've got 8 people on stage, so we've got to get a decent sized stage. It's got to be lit well. There's just a lot to it. It's not like again, it's not like the Beatles sitting down and I can just pick up a little shaker and go.
Right.
I mean, we have discussed doing some acoustic stuff,
okay.
But for right now, we're just focusing on the videos.
And then June 19th is also the date of the new Lamb of God album. So, I mean, that's good, putting out an album the same day as Lamb of God at this point.
Well, I think it's great. We've known those guys forever. Did a lot of touring with them early in the early 2000s. And, it's great just to see metal alive and well, coronavirus or not. People are just moving forward with their lives and their art. And like I said, it's great to see.
And, just kind of going back, we'll go back to Cleveland just a little bit in the history of Cleveland. And, there's such a music town. And I was listening to a great podcast about payola not too long ago. And they were talking about, Cleveland was kind of a test market, if you would say, about, checking out new bands and new rock and roll back in the 50s and in the 40s, 50s, 60s, whatnot. Just they would send it to Cleveland, and if it went off in Cleveland, then it would go everywhere else, and that's just added to the huge musical legacy that Cleveland has.
Yeah, it was really cool. There was quite a bit to be said for the radio scene back then. If you were played in the Cleveland area, man, you did really well. And even all the way to the fun little stories about like Rush being broken, because of the airwaves, reaching across the lake over there, and to where Cleveland was one of the first ones picking up stuff from Canada and saying, "Whoa, check out this band." And that's part of the rumor, anyways, that Cleveland helped break the band Rush. So there's a lot of history here. So it's cool to be part of it. We'll be the joke of the industry in the world forever, but now I guess maybe not as bad as Akron though. Oh
no. Yeah, I used to play. I played Ron's Crossroads a couple times back in the '90s, so can't hate on Akron too much.
Yep. No, absolutely. No, it's just where it goes right now.
I do have a lot of friends up in the Cleveland area, and I do have a very vocal friend up there. That's he's like Cleveland through and through. Like he bleeds orange, for the Browns. But he was very upset with how everything was going down in Cleveland with the rioting and the looting and burning down. And he's like we've tried so long and so hard to get this city beautiful, and now it's just all going to shit.
Yeah, it's pretty disrespectful. I think people have they were cooped up too long. Now they got out for the weekend and they don't know how to behave. You know what I mean? Everyone needs to be grounded. Go back home. Go back to confinement, man. I don't understand it either. I know protests and riots go hand in hand and it's part of history, but I think it's something that we can leave in history. Honestly, I don't really like mixing art and politics, but
right.
I think the protesting, there's a fine line between just taking it to another level of it, then it becomes demonstrating, and I don't see the need for it.
Yeah, it's definitely a wonderful life, right?
And that is exactly why we picked that style title. Because it really is. It's just how you look at it, day to day, right?
Right. Is the heresy out yet? Is it out fully yet?
The song or the video?
The song
is.
Okay.
Yes, the song is. Yes, the song is, and I think video launches tomorrow.
Okay, good. Well, then I will end this with the heresy, and just kind of because that when that finally kicked in, I was like, wow, that's an amazing Mushroomhead song. So, kind of give me a little backstory on the song, and that's what we'll end this interview with.
One of the things with that one, I'd mentioned it earlier. Every time I hear that tune, as soon as I hear Jackie start that opening line, those vocals were tracked at Abbey Road. So every time that song comes on and I hear those vocals, I'm literally I'm sitting right there in the same room they did Dark Side of the Moon in. So it's truly an inspiring song today. Still today.
Fantastic, man. Well, it sounds like you get the Talk to Me podcast. Those are always fun. And once again, thank you for listening each and every week. If you've listened this far and enjoyed this podcast, you may enjoy my other podcast with Ian Wadley, formerly of the Rock and Metal Combat podcast, entitled Diablo Sim Podcastica, where we talk all things music, some movies, and give our recommendations for new albums, old albums. So go check it out, Diablo Sim Podcastica. And for the Talk to Me podcast, I am Joshua Toomey, and I will talk to you soon.